Check, check, mic check. And we're rolling with another episode of Industry Interviews. I am your host and good buddy, Dan Brown Jr., creative director and composer of the EMMY-nominated CrimeSonics. And today I'm joined by, and super excited about this episode, the man who plays all the low notes in the coolest band ever, Everclear, Mr. Freddy Herrera. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Wow, that's quite an introduction, dude. Thank you.
It's all written out right in front of me, man.
Yeah. No ad-libbing, huh?
No ad-lib, not at all, dude.
That's good, man. How you doing? And congratulations on the Emmy nomination, dude.
Man, yeah, but you know what? This is your podcast. Thank you, though, brother. Thank you.
Oh, man. I got to give you your props. I mean, we've known each other for quite a while, and it's just great to see your upward progress. It's great.
Man, thanks so much. And I tell you what, dude, for everyone that's listening, Freddie and I have been, offline, online friends for years now, but have we ever actually hung out yet, dude?
Not yet. Not yet. I was gonna go. You had your Halloween party last year, but a friend of mine died right before it, and his wake was on Halloween for some weird reason.
That's terrible.
I couldn't go, but yeah, hopefully if all this craziness gets done anytime soon, we can hang out.
Yeah, and we're thinking too, because we've moved since then to a new house, and and if the world gets healthy, we'd love to have another wild and epic. What we want to do is have the type of Halloween party you always see in like the 90s films.
Yeah.
and when you show up to a Halloween party, it never looks like what you hope,
Yeah.
Everyone listening.
Everybody's dressed and everybody's
right.
in a great mood. Yeah, no, those are fun.
Yeah, well, we actually do it like that. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, man, you know what? So, look, all over the internet, like a true cyber hacker I am, I'll go around and I will find interviews that, you or anyone does, and I'll find all the same kind of stuff, same kind of questions. Honestly, I'm not interested in any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit more about just you as the dude, man. So let me just back up. Where are you from, my brother?
I'm actually born and raised in California in Riverside.
Oh, I love it. You're a Cali guy.
Yeah. And I'm one of the few born and raised here. And moved out here. It was in 1990. Grew up pretty much in Riverside. We lived in San Jose for a little bit, but I had never been out of California until I got in a band and toured.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We never really took family vacations or anything. I moved up here in 90 with the band. I was already playing, obviously. And
but not to interrupt, let's talk about that. You, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually started playing bass a little bit late, yeah?
I did.
Tell me about that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I was super into skateboarding. That was my thing.
Oh, a Cali guy. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And was in contests. There used to be these amateur skate contests called ASPO.
Oh, super cool.
And me and my buddies that I grew up with, we did pretty good. I won right before I quit. I just won my division. They did it in age divisions. Yeah. But I just won my age division. And but these guys were bugging me to they wanted to start a band. And I was like, wow, I've always loved music, but I never thought to play. Yeah. And they knew I didn't have any money to get anything, so they got me a bass and a totally crappy amp and started playing, and it was fun, but it didn't click. It didn't really click. And so I said, I'm not going to do it, and then I came back to it. They kept bugging me again, came back to it about a month later, and man, everything just worked. Something changed, and I could see it and I could hear it. And that was it, man. I quit skateboarding just pretty much that day.
Wow.
And just started playing. And it's been a really crazy ride, because I think I'd only been playing for a couple years in local bands and stuff. And I was making furniture in a wood shop. That's what I used to do for money.
Really? What kind of furniture?
Just custom like wall units and cabinets and stuff like that. Just pretty much anything they threw at me. I was kind of like my own. I get to be very creative in it, which was cool. But one day I was making this these doors for this thing, and the piece of wood exploded and my hand went into the blade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it cut off the tips of my middle 3 fingers, except didn't get my pinky or my thumb on my left hand, my fingering hand.
Oh wow.
So I couldn't play for about a year, but man, as soon as I could, I mean, I was trying to play, but I couldn't really do it. And I had to go back in and do another surgery because they just sewn me up, but they had to go in there and open up my fingers again and smooth out the bone, if that's not too gross. Because they said if I was playing and putting a lot of pressure on it, the bone would come through the skin.
Oh,
yeah. So they had to open me up, open up my fingers, do that again, and then boom, and it was a weird thing. I hadn't been playing that long, but I was so into it and I was so determined. Yeah. And it's never really stopped me. I've never not gotten a gig because I couldn't do anything. And you tell you one thing, man, made me play with my pinky a lot more.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So then, I was off and running. Still lived in Riverside during all this, and I didn't want to come to Hollywood. Everybody's like, you got to go to Hollywood, get in a band, and I just stayed away from it because everybody that came to Hollywood seemed to turn into this one big asshole.
I've experienced that one big.
Yeah. And it was just like, man, you guys all sound the same. You guys all dress the same. It's all the same.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. And finally, like in 89 or something, I started venturing out here, playing in bands. And I was in a band. And finally, I moved out here in 90. And that band didn't really do what I could see it. And it's like, no, I was very driven. And I was just always into being honest with myself. And, I was older too, man. I didn't come out here till I was 25 or 26.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't be messing around.
Dude, and, you're right. Yeah, that's we have a commonality there because I came out to Los Angeles around the same time.
Oh yeah. It was good. I was glad, and from that band, I stole the drummer, and I met these guys from this other band, and it was actually Don Everly's kid, Eden.
Wow.
And he was the singer, and we got signed to Hollywood Records, put out a record. That fell apart. Was looking for a while, couldn't find anything. So my roommates had a disco cover band. They had the first one here out here in LA. This was in 94, 93 or something.
Yeah.
And they were getting too many gigs. They were getting too popular. So I jumped in. They built a band. They found the other guys for me to play with, and we started doing their same thing, but on all the gigs that they couldn't fill. And that was a lot of fun, man. It was great for quite a while. I did that for about 5 years. I'm talking like the costumes, wigs, everything.
Oh man.
Yeah. And played some really interesting stuff, but it just towards the end therein, I wasn't happy. I was still trying to do my own stuff with bands and stuff, but I would go and play one of the disco cover band gigs, and the line would just be down the block, just packed. And then I'd play a show at like the Troubadour or the Mint or something, and there'd be like 10 people. I was just getting really, really down, and I was drinking like crazy and just partying and just trying to escape it. So finally I just said, that's it. I'm going to do just original stuff. And that was it, man. I just put my nose down and then joined a band, which ended up morphing into the Exies.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guitar player in that band, he was just playing guitar, but I heard him sing one day, and he ended up being the singer for the Exies. I talked him into it. Well, I pushed him into it, kind of.
That's awesome.
And we did that, did Exies things, put out 3-4 records. And when that just kind of fizzled out, we just, we had so many opportunities, but nothing really happened.
Yeah.
So I knew that we weren't going to be doing anything for a while. So I started looking around, and I called Art Alexakis, singer for Everclear.
Now, let me interrupt for a second. So we alluded to it, and I want to make sure that I'm fully tracking. I know you started late. How old were you when you picked up the bass?
17.
So you were 17. Yeah, that is late, man. Most people are picking like 8 or 9 or 10 or something.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was just, like I said, it just started to make sense. And
so cool.
In no means, I mean, I can read music if I sit down and really, really try.
Yeah.
But, I'm all ear training.
Yeah, ear feel, musical intuition. That's just as valid as any sight reading or other technical skills, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of good. It trips me out now because I've had to learn a couple of Everclear songs from records because the last 2 or 3 years we've done, whole records. We did one Sparkle and Fade, and then we did So Much for the Afterglow. Then now we're going to do songs from American Movie records. And but I was flabbergasted when I started learning because I was like, man, I cannot figure out this part. And you just go on the internet and it's all on there. And I don't know. I don't know, man. You can find pretty much anybody playing any song if it's halfway popular,
Yeah.
But the tab thing, I could never. That's more confusing than learning music to me.
Yeah. And so you said you just picked up the phone and called Art, but not everybody's just picking up the phone and calling their famous friends, So how did you, did you have a connection with him in the past, or what's going on there?
I did. I skipped over that. It was when the Exies second record. We did an independent record before the one that Inertia, the one that's got My Goddess on it.
That's
cool. And when we were getting ready to release Inertia, that was the first one for Virgin. We were playing a Christmas party for I think it was DC 101 in DC.
Oh.
And they have a bunch of different bands. Well, Art was there and he saw us play. And he loved the band, and I remember he came running downstairs after we were done, and we're like, we were starstruck by just that he came up to us at all. And he's like, I love your band, I want to take you guys on tour. And we're like, hell yeah.
Done.
So he took us on our very first big bus tour.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was great. And him and I, we really connected. We didn't hang out all that much, but you could tell. Just some people you just like.
Yeah.
A little bit more than other people. There's no work involved. There's no weirdness. And we stayed in touch. And actually, at the end of that tour, he knew he was going to do a change. He knew that the time with Craig and Greg, the other two guys, were coming to the end.
Yeah.
He asked me, he's like, would you be interested? And I'm like, dude, I'm flattered. But, Exies, I started it with the singer. I was like, I can't just split. I got to see this through. Plus, they're a lot of the songs are my ideas too.
Yeah.
And I think he appreciated that. That it was serious, about doing something. I wasn't trying to just be some kind of mercenary like we meet so much here in LA. And
you mean not to interrupt, but you mean like how some people just will pass you up for like, oh, here's the better gig, see you later.
Yep, exactly. Or more money or whatever. There's no loyalty, and that's another thing. I think, it worked out for me, and just for the fact that I was never a guy to play in like 3 or 4 or 5 bands at the same time.
Yeah,
I always grabbed one band and stuck with it and tried to do that the best I could.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I had conversation with some of my friends, and it works for some people. For me, it just didn't. I just could never. I didn't think that I could give each project the right amount of attention.
Yeah, I don't know if I could retain and be like dead on that much material. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
that's
tight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we we've gone through a few drummers in Everclear since I've been in, and it's crazy. Some of the guys that when we were trying out drummers, some of the guys who I'm sure you've come across before, and then they would come to rehearsals and they didn't really know the songs because they're doing so much stuff. I don't think it was on purpose.
Yeah.
But I would never go to an audition if I didn't have the stuff nailed.
That's called the walk of shame, dude.
Yeah.
I'll never take that walk of shame.
Yeah, that's not a good one. It's not
No,
a good one to go.
not a good one.
Not a good one to go. But anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, so the Exies were running out of steam, and I knew it. So I started calling around, and I called Art, and not even ask if he needed one, because I knew he had a guy already. He had a guy for a while, and I asked him, if he just knew of anybody that needed a bass player or was looking, or if he had any kind of feelers out there could help. And he said, yeah, me. And I guess he had just let his other bass player go that day.
Wow. Timing.
Yes. Timing. Yeah. I mean, you got to be good at what you do, man. But so much of what you do in this stuff is luck.
Yeah. Got to be a good hang and good sense of timing.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's it. I know a lot of people that were great players that I thought there's no way this kid's not going to do something, but there was such a pain in the ass that nobody would work with them.
Yeah. That's like an running theme through all these podcasts we've done. Like everyone, I think we have 7 or 8 of these up at the time of this recording, but I've done maybe 20 or 30 of these now.
Wow.
And it's like it's this ongoing theme. Like if you're not a good hang, you're not going to get very far.
No. And you can be, if you're a good hang and a cool person to be around, even if you're not that good, they will hang on to you.
Yeah. Vibe is hard to find, man.
It is. Everybody's always, it's just like, I think everybody, and Art and I were talking about this because we were just talking about, what's going on right now, how we can't play, how we're going to approach it when everything's done. And like, I'm trying to look at things I want to do the long play. Not the short play where we just get out there and just start hammering out. We still have to stay on, and he's the one that said it. I'm just agreeing. I'm just using what he said. And I'm like, yeah, man, let's go for the long haul thing, not just try to get in there and try to make a bunch of money because don't know if it's going to go away. You got to go for the long play. Everybody, I hate saying it, and don't get me wrong, I love everybody here in LA. They're great. It's just a few people that I've run across that really have tainted my look on sidemen kind of gigs. But a lot of guys, they're just mercenaries. And I'm not in Everclear. I'm a side guy too. I'm a hired guy. But I always thought, okay, this is my job. I want to present art songs as well as I fucking can. And I've been lucky enough where now I've played on three Everclear records, and I got to play my part. So it's really, I feel like part of the band, even though I'm not. It's his band. It's always been his thing. But yeah, you have to know when you're a side guy, it's not about you. It's not about you.
What was it? I'm curious. So you make the call, you're, being friendly. Hey, Art, what's up, dude? Who do you know that needs a bass player? And he's like, me. And so then, so what is that like now? Like you just hop in a car and take off, or like what's the next steps in that process?
No. So he goes, I'm going to be down in LA. Okay. Very, very like bro, he's like, I want you to come here. I'm going to rent out a space at Swing House. And I want you to come and play with the guys that I got now. Cause he had replaced everybody in the band.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, sure, man. He's like, I'm going to have management send you some stuff, and it's going to be the live version. So you know what the arrangements are. Cause if it works out, we got a gig in like 3 weeks. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh man, it's quick.
And it's a good 16, 17 songs.
Yeah.
And so I get down there and I'm thinking, all right, cool. He didn't say I had the gig, but it seemed like very, very mellow, like very casual. I'm like, all right, cool. And so we get there, play. We actually only played like about 1.5 songs, and we just bullshitted about, the past and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right. He's like, cool, man. He's like, all all right, cool. I will let you know. I got to do some stuff, whatever. All right, cool. And so I pack up my bass, I'm walking out. He's like, I'll call you later. I'm like, all right, cool. I walk out, feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
I open the door to Swing House, and there's a long hall, and there is like, I'm not kidding, like 50 guys waiting with their basses. So I'm thinking, pretty good, It's like, but he's a businessman. He had to at least see what was out there, and he didn't know if they could still play or whatever. It had been a good 8 years since I had, seen him.
Yeah.
We would run into each other, but he hadn't seen me play. But he called me later that day. And he's like, Ian, it's your gig if you want it. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I want it.
Yeah, I want it. I was so desperate, dude. I was looking for any kind of job at that time because the Exies hadn't done anything in like almost a year.
Were you working any type of like menial job in the interim, or what was going on?
No, I was lucky enough where I was pretty smart with my money, and I saved a lot.
That's really good.
I saved a lot so I could have a cushion because I know how it works, man. I've been doing it for quite a while. It's like you don't just go out and buy a freaking BMW, unless you can really, really afford it. And believe me, I would love to, but I can't. I'm driving a Mini.
A Mini Cooper?
Yeah.
And it's just as expensive as my BMW.
I know, dude. I did not know that when I bought it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a little car. He's like, this is a BMW. I'm like, what?
Yeah, man, those are awesome.
Fucking taking it in to get tune-ups and stuff. It's like insane.
Yeah, I thought you were making a jab at me because of my Beamer. You're driving a Beamer too.
No. I got a great deal on it though, man. I got it used. And, me too. It only had like 12,000 miles. It was already like 4 years old, and I found out the guy's like, yeah, the guy that had it, he didn't really drive it because he's always working. I'm like, who is it? And he wouldn't tell me. Finally, when I got the car, I'm like, okay, I bought it already. You got to tell me now. He's like, it was Will Wheaton from
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Wesley Crusher.
Exactly.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, yeah, he didn't drive it. I bought it in 2014. It was 2012, and it had, I think, 12,000 miles on it or something.
That's nothing. Is it the one with the back where the doors open like
no, I wish.
Yeah, I like those ones. Those are cool.
Yeah, those are my favorite ones. They just started making those again, I guess.
Yeah, throw some gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to rabbit trail. Sorry, man.
No.
But, so
no, dude. I'm not. I think whatever you want to do, that's fine. It's just for me. That's the way I always did. I'm kind of a bit of a squirrel. I kind of like.
I love it.
Just squirrel stuff away, and then just in case. But so we started out and played a show. I think I got the gig. We played like one rehearsal.
Yeah, let me ask you that question. So you leave the hallways full of 50 people with basses, but you get the call. Super cool. And you said you only had about 3 weeks, right?
Oh yeah. Well, it was 3 weeks from when he told me about the whole thing. I only had about a week after to learn the rest, to learn the set and everything.
And so what was your practice routine like that every day?
Oh, all day.
All day, every day.
Only take a break. I only took a break to eat, go to the bathroom.
And then are you still listening to him like in the shower?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've been
driving in the car, going to the gym. That's all I'm listening to is his stuff constantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you know
what
it is.
I don't want to take the walk of shame ever, man.
Yeah. I've always prided myself on never being the guy that dropped the ball in the band.
That's right.
No, you don't want to be that guy ever.
Yeah.
Or in life.
Never.
You want to be
how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great saying.
Yeah. I don't know who came up with it, but it really rings true.
You did.
I'll take all the credit. Why not?
Brown original.
So you had a week. Where was the gig?
It was in Wisconsin, and it was a big festival.
Very cool.
And Eddie Money headlined.
Yeah.
And we played on right before him, and Puddle of Mud played, and a bunch of
Yeah.
other people. You know, in the Exies, we had played some big stuff, but you know, like we did a tour with Motley Crue. We opened up for them all summer, but
How
we were
cool.
the second of four bands, so it was starting. You know, we played mostly outdoor sheds,
Yeah.
and the stadium would be starting, or the shed would starting to be full up, but the cheap seats would be full when the Exies played. But you know, a lot of empty seats in front.
Yeah.
You know, but with Everclear, you know, it was crazy because they, you know, it's a magical thing, Art's writing, because I remember tripping out those first, and I still do. It still happens, but
Yeah.
first few gigs, you know, seeing like grown men crying.
It's
I mean,
awesome.
bawling when he's playing like Father of Mine.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just his songs resonate with people like you would not believe. It's great. It's a great thing.
And such a
Unless
great voice too. What a
yeah,
great voice.
yeah, super distinct,
Yeah.
super distinct. And you know, and I told Art this. I always liked Everclear, but I only had so much for the Afterglow record. So for me, learning his other stuff was really enlightening. I was like, wow, man, I can't believe I didn't catch on to your stuff, me talking to him. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe I didn't know more of his stuff. But man, he's a hell of a writer. Hell of a writer. Still.
Agreed.
Yeah, the last record we did, Black is the New Black, was to me, it was just as good as anything he's ever put out.
Yeah. I'm curious to know how that first gig went, and then how you felt about it, and then, you know, walking off stage, like, what was it like?
Well, it was a great experience, dude, because I was playing, I was in the zone,
Yeah.
and everybody played really well as a unit, you know, and to me, that was more important, that we played together, that
Yeah.
the songs were represented. It didn't matter if I played wrong notes or anybody else did, as long as we were a unit. I didn't want it to seem like Art Alexakis and Everclear.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be just Everclear. And I thought we did really well. And I remember walking off stage and Art coming and putting his arm around me and going, dude, you're a fucking rock star. And, you know, that really meant a lot. That he's, you know, and I've told him that too. I was like, that really cemented me into like, wow, I need to really apply myself to this even more than I actually would have anyways.
Yeah.
And it's always been good with us, man. We've really gotten, you know, I'm close. Art's 58, I'm 55. Wow. So we're close in age. You know,
man, you guys don't look it. What is?
Yeah.
I want to ask to see. I'm 37, dude, and I look 60.
No, you look great, dude.
It's all the gray, brother. It's all this gray.
Dude, I get gray. I'm lucky. I don't really get it. I'll get a few strands of my hair.
Yeah.
But if I don't shave, that's where you can see all the gray.
Yeah.
It's all in my beard.
Dude, I was dyeing the beard for so long. It's so disingenuous. I just gave it up. I can't do it anymore. Dude.
Whatever makes you happy, dude. You know, you feel good about yourself. I think it tends to you tend to be nicer to people, everybody else, when you feel good about yourself. Yeah, so it's good to take care of yourself.
Yeah. So after that first gig, was that like the first gig of a tour, or was it a one-off, like drop-in date? What's going on?
It was a one-off.
Okay.
It was a one-off. And then after that, we were off to the races, and Art likes to work. And I'm glad. I'm glad, because so do I. Yeah. I think we played, I'm trying to think what time. Okay, I got the gig on September 1st. August 1st, 2009. So we probably had about 5 or 6 shows left in the year, you know, because December we probably wouldn't have done much. But it just kept getting better and better. But except for this one show, I think it was the second show we did, you know, Magic Mountain, right? The park. We got a gig there, and I'd always wanted to play there because when I was growing up, I would go see bands play there. There's a little amphitheater inside Magic Mountain. They used to have concerts there all the time when I was a kid. So
Yeah.
we got a gig there, and I was like, cool. And it's like, this is going to be my first show in LA with Everclear. I'm really excited. And it was such a disaster.
What happened?
Well, we had a guitar player, and bless his heart, he's a good guy. But I think the pressure of being in Everclear for one, and also being a hometown gig, he froze up so bad.
Oh no.
So bad. There was a part in the show where Art plays a song. He's got an acoustic and the guitar player accompanies him.
Yeah.
And my girl was in the audience watching, and she's like, it was so bad. It sounded like they were both playing different songs.
Oh, dude. It's like mental choke, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think and he's a great guy. He's a
bummer.
really great guy. But then we made a change, and Davey French came back into the fold. And he was the guitar player that Art had before. When I said that he let everybody go, Davey came back. He brought Davey back, and everything was great. And I'll never forget the guitar player from the Exies, David. He came to the show, and I said, and I knew it wasn't good. And David was funny though. He's like, I was like, hey, what'd you think? And I'm like, be honest. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. About that.
And that was the brilliance. That's the brilliance of David Walsh.
I don't know what it is about live performance horror stories that are so humanizing. So I got to ask the question. So what is your personal tour horror story? Have you ever done anything or experienced anything where you're like, that was all me. That's all me.
I'm trying to think. I haven't had many. I've seen
too cool for the school, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think I always just catch myself. Other than like, I've had plenty of times where like amps go out.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. I've played without monitors, in-ear or other monitors.
Yeah.
It's like, I try not to complain and stuff like that goes on because it's nobody's fault.
It just happens.
I hate seeing guys throwing tantrums on stage.
I got I won't personalize this much, but I got a couple of short ones I can share with you.
Okay.
One of them is actually on YouTube somewhere, and I'll find it and I'll link it in the description.
Okay.
We were playing some, I don't know, multi-band gig thing in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Uh-huh.
And we were filming that night, and I was up doing a solo, front and center, stage center, going to town. I didn't think nothing of this. I just remember feeling like the bottom of the jams have dropped out, but hey, I'm mid shred. I got to keep going, right?
Yeah, right.
So at the end of it, we're at the merch booth. My bass player comes up, and his arm is just bleeding, all scratched up.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm like, dude. He's like, yeah, man, you didn't notice? I totally tripped off that riser platform, face planted in front of everybody. And I'm like, and I got it on tape. I rushed to those cameras so fast, dude.
Oh my God, is it really bad?
It is so amazing. It is the perfect footage of, what happened was it was a two-step riser. He was up there doing the thing, thumping the low notes.
Yeah.
Steps down, and that second step was not attached to the stage, and it buckled. So his ankle rolls, he just goes straight down, and belly flops in the pool with the bass. It was. Oh
my God!
I'll put it up.
My God! Yeah. I want to see it. And what was the name of that band?
We were called Hero at that time.
Hero? Oh,
Hero.
That's a cool name.
Hero at that time.
And then,
go ahead.
And you were, when we first started talking, you were in what, Ohio?
Maybe Denver.
Denver. Okay.
Yeah, I'm from St. Louis. I've lived in
St. Louis.
Yeah, maybe, because I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in Denver, and then now we're here. And I'm stuck here for life now.
Yeah. That's cool though, man. I know you don't want to talk about you
Yeah,
much.
it's funny
I think
story.
I think it's just great, man. The Emmy thing. It's just
I
you
appreciate
have
that.
been so. I mean, we talked when you first got here, and you
Yeah.
were so adamant, and so driven, and I love that about you. And I also love like your posts you put on social media about, anybody need any help, you want to work on stuff or whatever, hit me up. That's great stuff, man. That's really good karma, and that's just how a human being should be.
Well,
I
I
really think
appreciate
that's
that,
great.
man. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
it doesn't go unnoticed. It does not go unnoticed, and it's really good because you meet people that are just so like just me and
it.
secretive, and they don't want to share anything. It's really it's a breath of fresh air, and I think it's because you're not from here.
Yeah. Well, I grew up really poor,
Yeah,
and
me
and
too.
yeah, and I think when you can look back and have those memories of, like really being in want, not having the cool bike, not having the
Yeah,
cool shoes,
yeah,
not having the cool haircut, and really just feel like, gosh, man, especially, when you're from middle America, and I'm from a very small little river town north of St. Louis in Illinois. I mean, it's just
oh
cornfields and meth.
wow, that's a good combo.
Yeah. And, so, like yourself, I mean, we're always trying to get to the next level and continue to grow and succeed. And I'll be the first person to say, look, I haven't figured anything out, but anything I have learned, I will share that with anyone
Yeah,
all the way, So I
it
appreciate that.
doesn't hurt anything, man. It doesn't hurt anything. You're not giving anything away.
Yeah.
You
There's
know.
enough work. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
there's no need for secrets. This
Yeah,
isn't David Copperfield of the music
yeah, yeah.
industry or something.
Usually, I've noticed, doing this for so long, I've noticed that the guys that are like that are really not like that good,
Yeah.
and it's always the B players
Yeah.
that are really like,
Yeah.
so hard to deal with, so hard to work with.
Well, it might be that whole that fragile ego. Let me put up this, persona type of thing, and
Maybe,
I don't
maybe,
know. I don't know.
yeah.
Like,
Maybe it's just a nice breath of fresh air. And like I said before, I don't come across those people hardly ever. Just the few times I have, it's just like, wow, because I'm so lucky, man. I've been around music for, ever since I was 17. And I've met so many great people. Even my girl Angie, she's from back east, she's from DC, and
yeah, I was going to ask too. So tell me about the lady friend, kids. What's going on there?
no kids yet.
Yet.
Yeah, could be. Could
Oh,
be.
breaking news right here.
Could be. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've been together for it's going on. It'll be 17 years.
Oh, wow.
17 years. Yeah, I met her on the road with the Exies, 2003, and we've been together ever since.
So that's pretty cool. So when you got the call and went through the very short audition process for Everclear, she was right by your side the whole time.
Yeah.
What
She
was
was
that
here.
like when you called her back and said, "Hey, I got the gig"?
Oh, she was here. She was
Oh,
here at the house. We were.
that's awesome.
Yeah. It was a great moment, dude, because we were in dire straits. I
Oh
mean,
man, that's so cool.
yeah, it was very, very it was starting to get scary.
Yeah.
'Cause I couldn't find anything. I couldn't
Yeah.
find any even like, stocking grocery store shelves or anything. So it was crazy. And like you were just talking about, yeah, I was very, very poor growing up. And I swore I'd never, I would do whatever I could to always be moving forward, and I did,
Yeah.
did not like stepping back at all. But you do, and you fail. It was very, losing the Exies. That was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. I put a lot of time and my whole being into that. So when that was falling apart, it was hard pill to swallow. And the band before that too, But you figure out what you're going to do. There's some good to come out of failure if you want it to.
Yeah. No, you're right. That one of the things I share with my son all the time is you win or you learn. You don't win or lose. You win or you learn, right?
Yeah.
And if you can really take those low moments and, have a mirror and look at yourself, well, okay, I'm here. How much of this is my own doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that, and also too, what I've been doing the last few years is like, what lesson is here?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to be learning from this? Why am I in this situation?
Yeah.
And if you are honest with yourself, you can pinpoint it.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, nothing very few things come out of the blue. Usually if you go back and look at stuff, you can see the progress of either good or bad.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm so freaking lucky. I can't even believe it.
Yeah. It's so cool, man. If we could, I'm a real big geek when it comes to gear and tech.
Okay.
So I'm curious about all kinds of cool stuff. You said you got a junkie bass when you first started 17. Do you remember what it was?
Oh God, I don't even think it had a name, dude.
Oh, I love it.
But I remember I was like, it was so old. It was from the 60s.
Yeah.
But it
Three
was
strings.
no, yeah. It had 4, but it had those plastic coated strings.
Ooh, yuck.
But the plastic, and I didn't know anything about bass, but the plastic had broken, so it would just rattle.
Yeah.
They just rattle. I was like, I don't think that's supposed to sound like that.
I think it's got a distortion pedal built in.
It really did. It really did. I could never get it. It's like, it won't sound like true. I knew that it didn't sound true. And I remember I traded the first, they had gotten me an amp.
Yeah.
But before I even had an amp, I went to Radio Shack.
Whoa.
And I didn't have any barely scraped up the money to buy. I figured out I could plug into my home stereo.
Yeah.
And I practiced like that for probably about a year.
Were the speakers just like hi-fi, normal, like
regular home stereo?
Oh, they had low end. I get it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little.
Very little.
So.
And then I traded my my bike for an amp, and that was an Alamo. It was just the head. I didn't even have a cabinet, so I had to, no money again. I'll make my own cabinet. Good old trusty Radio Shack speakers. I didn't know anything about. You had to have certain speakers for certain things.
Yeah.
So made my own amp. Sounded terrible.
Yeah. How quick did you blow it?
It never really worked. I was so mad because the guy that traded me for it, he assured me that it worked, and it never really worked. It just kind of sputtered.
Yeah.
So I ended up, then I latched on to Peavy's.
Yeah.
Played Peavy's for years and years. Then graduated. Oh, I did get a little bit of money from my accident with my fingers. So I went out and bought SWR stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. I had that for years. And I had a GK head.
Yep.
800 RB 800.
Galleon Kruger, right?
Yeah, and that's a weird story because I had blown it up.
Yeah.
And there used to be on Ventura, this is way years ago before you were here. On Ventura, there used to be a Valley Arts huge guitar store. I mean, they were, and had it in there to get fixed, and the place burned down.
Oh man, with your gear in it.
Yep.
Oh, dude.
But the insurance paid me, and I got by then I was already out here, borrowed some amps and stuff, and then I had an Ampeg. I never wanted, I know Ampeg's holy grail, but dude, I never wanted to lift that stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All.
Was that an 810 cab or what was it?
Yeah, I never had.
Yeah.
I never had one. I had the biggest cabinet I had was a PV. It had 2 15s and 2 10s, which was a monster.
Yeah,
it was a monster. But then when we got when the Exies got signed, I got rid of that, and when we started doing the first record for Virgin, the producer, Matt Serletic, he's like, hey man, I want you to try this amp and this bass. And the amp was an Ashdown. This is 2002, and I'd never seen it before. No, hardly anybody knew about him. And that bass was a Sadowski. And man, I was so hooked. And they set me up with Ashdowns, and I've been playing them ever since.
Man, how cool is that? And what bass are you playing now?
Now I'm playing a Fender American Elite Jazz. And the thing that's cool about it, I ended up buying a Sadowski too after that recording, because I just loved it so much. And that's only thing I played for years. And then I got this Fender. They gave me a Fender American Elite, and what it is, it's a jazz bass, but it can be active or passive.
Yeah.
And the active electronics on it are great. It's the closest thing to Sadowski I've ever heard.
I'm scanning through some internet photos. I'm trying to find. Is this the Sunburst one you're talking about? Yeah. That thing is fresh.
Yeah.
That classic dinga 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 sound.
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, I never got into, and I've never owned a 5-string.
Yeah.
Well, I've owned a couple of 12 strings though. 12-string pieces.
That's crazy. Who makes those?
The ones I had were Hamer. One of them I bought from the bass player from Cheap Trick, Tom Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sold me that. He also sold me a 64 precision bass that was just like God.
You still got that guy?
No, I wish.
Oh man. I was going to say you could send that over to me as a good
I bet I could. I could. Dude, if I had that, that would be my future kids' college fund.
Yeah, that's
a hell of a thing. But it played so great. It just ran on hard times, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. Sold it. You know? Yeah.
Now, do you run a pedal board at all, or anything other than a tuner, or what's going on?
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even use a tuner, but now we just got hooked up. Line 6 just hooked us up with those Helix.
Yeah.
Man, those things are so rad.
Tell me about that guy.
So rad. Well, it's I'm not a big tech guy.
Yeah.
So it's really easy. It's got like every amp, every cabinet you ever want. You just mix and match. It's got every bass effect ever made, and it's got double banks. You can put 10 individual sounds, or you can set it up as, you know, this pedal, this button is for a certain song, and it's got all the things. Go to the next one, it's for the next song. It's pretty endless.
How do you feel, I mean, in regard to the tone and what you're getting out of it? How do you feel about it?
It's great, dude. And no lag time at all.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it's incredible. Line 6 is just, they've stepped up the game so much.
They used to have, I guess it was maybe their factory or headquarters right out here by where I live.
Oh, are you out in Calabasas?
Yeah, we're right out that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're still there.
The silver building? The big silver?
Yeah. Oh, they're still there. So you're in Calabasas. You were in Woodland Hills before, right?
Yeah, I've been Woodland. We've been Agora, Thousand Oaks, Westlake. We just bounce around wherever the rent is good.
Right.
Which is nowhere, by the way.
Yeah, right. Not here. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask real quick, when you run this Helix, are you going bass direct in right in front of the amp? Are you using the effects loop? What are you doing?
Well, we just started using it, so I've run them both ways.
Yeah.
I've run them both ways, and I think I like running through the pedal through the amp.
Yeah. Sometimes that is the best way, to just go right into that thing.
Yeah. So I'm not using much. I think I like that better because the amp modeling they don't have an Ashdown in there. And I've been playing Ashdowns for, 19 years.
Yeah.
Really hard for me to get away from that sound.
I was going to ask what I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong. You don't have a signature Ashdown amp yet, do you?
No.
What's up, Ashdown? What's up?
Those guys are so great.
That's awesome.
So great. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. And then do you are you using anything else in your rig, or is it just bass, helix, and amp?
Bass, helix, and amp. Yeah.
That's super cool.
That's it. I never, like I said, I never. Well, I used to. I do. I have been using a Lomenzo Ashdown distortion pedal.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. I mean, Ashdown is so. I mean, all they do is basses.
Yeah.
They're starting to do guitar stuff. They have a separate thing.
Yeah.
But man, it's so great. And being a bass player, you know, I love distortion. I like a little bit of cut on it, but I don't like it at the expense of the low end.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, and there's so few pedals where you can get that, but never fails with the Ashdown stuff.
When you track in the studio, are you switching it up every time, the chain, or how do you track and get your tone?
Usually, I've always, since I started making more of the major label records, I always do a thing where I'll run a direct I'll put my amp out there.
Yeah.
Run a direct, mic the cabinet, and then I'll run another mic on another speaker. And then one of those two speakers, whichever one I think can be manipulated better, I'll throw that into a third one. So I always try to run 3 lines.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So I can blend them, take away, add more, you know, and I can use a stereo effect too if I really get crazy. I don't get to do that very much. You know, it's hard when you got 2 guitars going.
Yeah.
When you're in a single guitar band, it's easier to mess around with more. But yeah, that's been my MO for the last, you know, I don't know, 6 or 7 things that I've recorded.
Have you ever tried these Sans amp bass drivers, the Tech 21 pedals?
Love them.
Yeah, that's what I use here. I was going to geek out with you. So I have 2 5-string, what are they, Stingray 5s?
Uh-huh.
Heaviest bass on the planet, but but man, those big, you know, hamburger pickups, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm a guitar guy, you know this, but when I'm tracking my own bass, I just want some good tone, and so I'll run out of that into that Sans amp, and then I'll run that through. I'll switch it up. I have different preamps, tube preamps, mic preamp, you know, just whatever. I'll just switch.
So that's what I'll use too. Always use an Avalon.
Yeah, those Avalons are awesome.
Yeah, they're killer.
Yeah, and I actually don't have one of those in the studio, dude, and I need to get one.
But it's been a while, dude. I haven't tracked since what, 2015, I think, 2016.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. I'm sure. I mean, the amazing thing with the digital stuff is just like it's scary good now.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
The modeling is insane.
So I got a confession, I'm a guitarist, right? So when I track bass, it's all pick, dude. So I want to talk to you about, do you switch it up a lot? Fingers, pick? Like what's your main MO?
Okay. All recordings up until Everclear, fingers only. I think maybe one song I did on the Exies record had a pick. Yeah. But when I got an Everclear, or it's like, you know, he's like, I know you're into the thing, but can you try doing a pick? And I was like, all right, cool. You know, I like a challenge. And I did it. And you know what? It sounds great. It's a different animal. It's a different animal. And there's definitely a place for it. You can figure out a way. I liked recording with it because I liked what the click could add to the string tone.
Yeah.
Really give it a point, depending on what you're doing, you know. And you know, there's techniques. You know, you don't have to have that click if you're careful. Yeah. You don't. But yeah, so I did I've been doing like one-off songs, and I helped a band. I did some recording with them. I did not all their bass. I think I did 6 songs for a band called the Everyday Losers. Yeah. And they're out of Evansville, Indiana. They were big Exies fans, and they asked me to do it. I was like, yeah, sure, man, I'll do it. That was a lot of fun. It was great. I had full reign. I was like, I would send them the tracks. I'm like, you guys want me to change anything, or you want me to try anything, whatever? They didn't have me change a thing. It was
awesome.
great.
You're actually touching on something I was going to ask, which is, let's talk about, what if there's people out there like, man, I gotta get my man on the bass tracks. Like,
I would love that.
can you be hired?
Oh yeah, man. I would love to do that.
Yeah. So my question now is, how do people get in touch with you, man? How do they hire you for these tracks?
Yeah. You can give them my my email, which is Freddy Herrera 123@gmail.com.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Hire this man.
I've been waiting for this one guy call me. We were supposed to do something a while ago. You might know him. His name's Dan.
Yeah, Dan Brown Jr. I forgot. It's funny, man. I have this. We'll talk about it later. Yes. By the way, yes. I got those tracks ready. I actually got hurt about 2 months ago. What? I won't go all into this, but yeah, I had hands and braces, and man, I really messed up both my hands and forearms. I was working on projects in here, and I did about 3 years worth of work in about a month.
Wow.
And I've never, had an overusage injury. So I tell you what, it's been like a really weird time in my life.
Yeah.
It's like,
you get used to doing that. You get used to working that hard, and then to have the rug get pulled out. That can be pretty damaging to not only your hands, but to your psyche.
Yeah, you start having that imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
That's been, luckily, I'm still not better, but I would say I'm a month out.
Wow.
So it's like, man, it's like 90 days of this has been like, what in the world?
take it slow, dude. Take it slow, because you don't want to rush it back before you're ready. Man, that sucks. Yeah,
I do.
Well, there's, like we were talking about earlier, man, there's a lesson to be learned. Like, what are you supposed to learn from that?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, you, man, Freddie, you are right. And I tell you what, I'll give you the answer to that. I have worked myself to absolute death, and I have earned the right to take a freaking break, man.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to take a break.
You do. That's what I'm trying to do with this time and the situation, everybody being home.
Yeah.
I didn't really, I never really freaked out about it, but it has crossed my mind. It's like, well, what's going to happen? This and that. Yeah. But I'm trying to just enjoy the ride. I'm really enjoying being home. I'm not home that much.
Yeah.
So I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it as much.
Well, let me ask you this, my brother. We are approaching the 1 hour mark.
Okay.
I know you're a busy guy, and I keep all these right around the hour mark.
Okay.
And so if we could end with maybe this question. I'm thinking about young Freddie, or even young Dan Brown Jr., the young, broke, feeling stuck in life kind of person, maybe stumbling across this episode of the podcast. Like, what kind of advice could you give to that person who is, starting off their musical career and it seems hopeless?
I would say, don't do it for the money.
Right.
Don't do it for the money, because very few people really get to see like money.
Yeah.
You get enough to get by and everything, but if you think you're gonna just come in here and rule the world, it's probably not going to happen. You have to do. I always tell people that ask me this. I'm like, you have to do music because you can't not do it.
Yeah.
It's something that drives you, and that's what makes you happy. You have to be happy with the work, not the result, because the result, it's so out of your hands. When you work on stuff, you're putting in everything you can, but you don't know if the producers or whatever are gonna like it for the show you're doing it, but you like it. That's what gets you through.
Yeah.
And you have to be honest with yourself. Do you really feel that way? And are you really good? You have to be able to stand back and look at yourself and go, am I really good? And and be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that last part is so important, to be able to have an honest conversation, ego aside.
Yeah.
Are you operating in your skill set at some sort of mastery level, or at least like contending at industry level? right?
Yeah. Contending. You don't have to be the greatest.
Right.
You got to be just like when we started out talking, you know, you got to be a good hang.
Yeah.
And you got to be flexible, man.
Yeah.
To be these people that come in, I know a guy I could count on more than two hands, the people that I've known that have shot themselves in the foot because they're so stubborn and nobody will work with them. And they're brilliant artists.
Yeah.
And they just won't get a break because they won't let go of that original idea that they have. I think it comes from a lot of lack of respect for other people.
Yeah.
You know?
He who is flexible shall not break.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. That's perfect.
That's it, man.
You don't, you know, and so much of like when somebody says something, you know, and that's what I always love with any band I've ever been in. I've never been in a band where it was like a bad situation where like everybody hated. There was never any fist fights or anything. I only stayed in a band if you could talk to each other and go, hey, how about you try that? Try this. I got this idea. Try it. And they could do the same to me. And I would always try it. There's nothing wrong with trying it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, the Exies, we had a drummer at the beginning, great drummer. We actually did a little indie release on this small little label before we got signed to Virgin, and great drummer and everything. But when we were starting to write for the second record, he was like, we were like trying to get him to do different things and everything. He's like, look, dude, I'm the drummer. I come up with the stuff. And we're like, okay, well, go drum by yourself then, because you're not going to be doing it with us anymore. You know, all he had to do was try it. If it didn't work, then it was cool, but he could not get out of his ego.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad.
It is. It is. Freddie, my brother, I appreciate you more than you know, dude.
Yeah, man, that was fun, man. It was
so glad we got to hang, man.
Me too. And we're going to do it in person when all this craziness gets done.
Absolutely, we are.
yeah, for sure. And you take care of those hands, dude.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'll keep you updated when they're working.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, when we do, we're gonna do some jamming.
It's gonna happen. All right, Freddy Herrera, coolest bass player in town, Everclear. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Dan. You take care, man.
All righty. Bye-bye.